Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is Things with Faces, and I'm Kristen. Today, I'd like to just jump right in and want to talk about goal setting for 2025. This is something that I find, a little exciting because I like to nerd out about this stuff. I am not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little behind with my goal setting this year, and a lot has to do with starting this channel. I've just been jumping right into that and some work demands. The reason why I guess I share this is because maybe you yourself are feeling a little bit behind or you don't know where to start. And I guess I'm just gonna walk through my personal process, probably even gonna modify a little bit what I typically do. I find that, the willingness to be flexible and a little bit open and willing to adjust and reevaluate like what's working, what's not working. I've been finding myself kind of each year tweaking what I've been doing, which I think by being open to change is only going to make yourself stronger actually in the long run, by being able to be flexible and not as rigid. I'm excited and hope that, maybe you are following along with me, or maybe I can give you some tips and tricks or give you a little bit of different perspective or a little insight on your personal goal setting for the year. So let's dive in. First and foremost, I think one thing that's very important before planning for the new year is actually taking a step back for a second, looking at the year prior. So in this case, in 2024, the one way that I start by evaluating is actually, I keep a planner, even though, it's what I do. So I use my planner, and I actually will go through month by month and do a little bit of like a calendar audit. And I already did this part in advance, but I kind of wanted just to show you and kind of walk you through a little bit like what I actually did. Be intentional, or like go through and kind of nerd out a little bit on what I did each month. And for me, the way that my planner is set up is actually into different sections. There's finances, there's home, there's work, hobbies. So they're kind of broken down into different categories, which helped actually make my process a little bit easier than normal. So yeah, I feel like by being able to kind of break that down in advance was very helpful, because I could just kind of, something that might be a little bit more tedious, whether you have maybe like a digital planner or maybe a work calendar, it was easier for me because I had things like actually handwritten down. So moving forward and actually going through my calendar audit, I broke it down into like different categories. Like I broke it down into the months, and then within there, I write in my giant Post-it notes because I'm a dork and I love it. And who doesn't love giant Post-it notes? So, anyways, but I broke it down into months, and then as I went through each month, I wrote down if there was like something significant that I was trying to kind of keep track of or monitor, to see my progress. For one, I know a lot of people like to focus on their health. So I actually started the year by weighing myself, and I took my own personal measurements, and even some photographs, so that I had something to kind of go back to actually see the bigger picture, and hoping that maybe there's more of a bigger, like more significant change in that area, then it would be, a little bit more drastic than the previous year if it was something that I continue to work on even more so throughout the year. That's just one example because there's a number or numbers attached to it. I started with January, obviously, and I would walk through my calendar and I would create different categories. So for one, I had like a fun category, like things that I did that month that were fun, whether that was with friends or family or by myself. Like maybe I attended an event or went to a movie or just did something that was just a leisurely activity. And then I had a category for worth it, something extra that I did, like maybe taking an online class of some sort or a workshop, things that just help kind of fill your cup or pour into yourself, a little bit of a self-care kind of thing. And then I have a category that's not worth it, like things that are time wasters or energy suckers or, just things that kind of drain your battery that, don't help you really, that are just taking you away from maybe the goals that you have set for yourself throughout the year. Something that I've heard before is like, the more yeses you say to something, then it's like you're saying no to something else. So kind of lean into like, pay attention to the things that you're saying yes to, because it might be taking away from working on your business or working on your creative goals or working out, or maybe you want to spend more time with your friends or your family and stuff like that. Like, I think you get the idea. So yeah, I kind of break it up into mainly like 3 different categories, but then within that month, there might be something more specific, like I said, like using weight as an example, or like your health. Something where there's actually like a SMART goal, like something that's a measurable goal that you can, look back on and actually gauge your progress based on numbers or time or maybe finances. So I went through my whole calendar, January through December. And it was very interesting. Like in my own personal situation, I'll just share a little bit. There was some, in the beginning of the year, I was noticing that I was having a little bit more fun than usual, trying to let go of some of the things that the previous year in 2023 were difficult for me, or some struggles I had. So for me personally, I started the year like intentionally setting it up to kind of add more joy into my life, instead of being so work focused, goal focused, like trying to achieve, starting the year off like just very heavy. It was kind of nice to kind of look back and reflect and see, you know what, I did some nice things. I spent a lot of time with my family. We went up to, I live in Michigan, so my parents and we went to Frankenmuth. The Lions were kicking butt last year, so had an opportunity to go downtown and go to one of the Lions games. To know that the way that I started my year off, had some intention to it. But like, as I was going through the months, I had started to notice, the balance was a little bit off. To know that by the time I got into like Q2, Q3 even, I wasn't really having as much fun. I was more focused on like shifting my mindset, and I was very busy at work during my day job, and a lot of like my personal goals had kind of fallen by the wayside. I do know that I started to recognize that because another tip or tool or trick, I don't know, I think being able to go through the year and kind of reevaluate or reassess about where you're at with your goals. I know in certain areas I felt like I was crushing it, but a lot of times it's like that juggle on that balance, like finding like that happy medium of what's actually working for you versus what's not. Was going through my process, and I know once like summer hit, just know that I really needed to reframe my mind and my headspace. So at that point, I was actually going through, and I know there's a ton of people out there that have done this, but there's a book called The Artist Way. And it was something that I had heard many artists, had talked about this book, and it's like a 12-week course, and, it's self-paced, self-motivated. I would say The Artist Way was something that really helped me as a person, as an artist, as an individual. Like, just, it was so unbelievably helpful for me to walk through that process and to take it seriously. You go through each week you go through a thing that's called morning pages, which is essentially your journaling. And the point is she wants you to write out 3 pages every morning, or at least as many mornings as throughout the week that you can. As you're journaling, you're kind of like, you might get to the point where you're like, what else am I going to write about? Like, I got nothing. But basically, by the time you get to like the 3rd page, you're going to start dumping out things that have been like buried in the back of your mind that you probably didn't even realize are on your mind. And it just, the morning pages for me were like very significant and very helpful. Kind of working through a lot of different things. The way that she walks you through this process, I find, or at least in my own experience, like watching people on YouTube like kind of go through each week and they're sharing their experiences. And I know that like this process or this book kind of like asks a lot of you. Like, I feel like if you're going to do the book, you should do the book. Like, lean into it like wholeheartedly, and not only do the morning pages and the reading, but there's also prompts and like another thing called like artist dates, where you date yourself and you take yourself out on a date, an intentional date each week. It makes you get out there and kind of like pepper some fun back into your life. Like, even maybe if you wanted to try new things and take yourself out to a new restaurant for dinner, or go to the local bookstore, or like fumble through some books and I don't know, like get some inspiration for your art. I just found really morning pages, the artist dates, and then in the very end of each chapter, there's a bunch of tasks that she's going to want you to do within like that week. And some of it's heavy. Some of the stuff really makes you, that's why I think it's almost like a therapy session, is like, she really has you dive deep into certain topics and maybe possibly like opening certain areas that you don't even really want to think about. And she kind of forces you to think about it. And I know in my own personal situation, it honestly, I feel like it just unlocked something inside of me. It wasn't always easy. I'm not going to lie. There was some chapters that it was almost like holding a mirror up to yourself and kind of forcing you to really see like what's in front of you, kind of reveal like what has been blocking you, what is stopping you from pursuing your passions, your goals, your art. Like, there was so many things that I was able to journal and to kind of walk myself through. If I was struggling with something, I was able to like take the time and really lean into like processing things that were helping me, that I was stuck at, and actually it helped me unblock certain areas of my life. So if you're feeling blocked, maybe give it a try. What do you have to lose, right? If you're blocked in a certain area of your life, or possibly even multiple, like I was blocked in multiple areas, and this sounds so cheesy, but I feel like working through this book helped propel me to move forward and to make some small changes. And I feel so much different. Like, when I finished this book, I think it was in October, it forced me, for one, to process stuff that I was either probably avoiding or didn't know how to maneuver and get through. But it also, in addition to that, setting up these artist dates with myself was allowing me, it was like almost freeing in a way, because it was like she was giving me a task in the book to say, hey, put something on your calendar that's going to bring you joy. Go see that movie, go to that concert, go do something for yourself. Nobody else, just for yourself. You choose the day, the time, the location, the thing that you're doing, and don't worry about the rest. And I did so many different things in that time frame, and I'm telling you, like, looking back and especially re-evaluating and going through my whole calendar and doing this audit, I really was not allowing much joy in my life. I was like so narrow focused on only like work, and trying to prove myself and trying to, be amazing there and trying to make everything perfect at my house and taking care of life and things, are so orderly and I got to check the box and get everything done. So I just feel like there was just something special about working through that book. So enough of the book. I'm just going to say, if it sounds like something that you need, or maybe you're feeling stuck or blocked, uninspired, whatever it is, maybe give it a shot. What's it going to hurt, right? The reason why I went on that big tangent was because out of all the things that I was going through, that was one of the biggest things that I did for myself in 2024, that I would love to do it again. Just not right now. But at some point, maybe throughout this year, like I wouldn't mind actually diving back into the artist way again, because you could do that at any time. Some people even like to do it once they finish, start again. You can take away something different each time. So highly suggest, not mandatory, but I will say that was a big worth it for me to go through that entire process. So throwing it out there. So I want to share things on this channel that I found very useful. You may agree, you may disagree, I don't know, but I personally I'm so proud of myself for actually doing that and committed to it. Aside from the artist way, start off, and whether it's a work calendar, whether it's your personal, like maybe on your phone, if you do have an actual maybe wall calendar where you've written some, events and things that you've done throughout the year, however you typically organize your stuff or keep track of your life, go back and go month by month and think of like the areas between starting with a fun category, the things that you enjoy and have had so much fun doing this year, have a worth it section, and add in all those things that you did aside, whether some type of growth that you had in your life. We all have everything looks different for each individual. And then have a section of just not worth it. Like, I'm not going to waste my time with that. Either it was draining my energy, draining my soul, not bringing me joy. Maybe it's people. Maybe it's people in your life that aren't serving you, that aren't help boosting you up or aren't supportive of what you're trying to do. But start there. Now, as my next step after all of that, the second part is I want to go through, and now that I've evaluated my entire, 2024, I'm going to break things up into different categories. Like, I know for me, I set goals in all different areas. I have health and fitness is one area because I like to make sure that I'm moving my body. I like to make sure that I'm, feeding my body right. We all, I'm sure, could make improvements there. Like, I'm not perfect by any means, nor do I want to be perfect like that. I do like junk food. I already, for the most part, have a general idea of like where I want to head. I'm just trying to figure out, like, get it down on paper, and have something tangible, like, to hold, to look at. In general, I like to start on the big Post-it notes, like I showed you and talked about a little bit earlier about the different categories reflecting on last year.
Primary theories concerning sediment flow rate. Each of these theories can be further subcategorized into two
this
distinct...
is it. This is what's going to kill me.
And so I'm feeling a little bit off because I'm actually filming this whole process right now, but I think this would be a bit of a fun way for me to start it. And I don't know if you at home, whether you want to try with different sheets of paper, maybe you do have colored pieces of paper, but I think what I'm going to do is, I've got, 6? 2, 4, 6. I have 6 different colors. I'm thinking each color will be a different category. So I'm going to start that way. So if you have, maybe you want to do the same if you want to follow along, or pause the video and think about, write down each category that you have goals or intentions that you want to set for 2025. You can do this along with me. Jot down all the things that either that you have to get done, like whether that's maybe doctor's appointments, maybe you have, I don't know if you have kids, maybe you have school and you have to meet with teachers and you have to take them, maybe they play sports and you have to run them around. I don't know, everyone's situation's a little bit different. I know that I've got to go to work during the day because I don't just do this. Maybe one day as a goal. I like to set different categories and I like to break it up into, health and fitness. I have goals for my house, things that maybe either I needed to get done, that I have to get done and attend to. But then I've got my wish list, maybe I'm finally going to paint the room that I want to change the color in, or paint my doors because my doors need to be painted. Stuff like that, landscaping, whatever that looks like for you. I'm kind of laughing. I'm having a hard time deciding which colors I want for what category. And I guess as you're going through this process, you could always kind of jot down maybe different ideas if you have something specific in mind, or maybe something you might have a general idea. For instance, for health and fitness, I know for me, I do beach body videos. So maybe you might just put beach body or workout program. And if you want to get more granular, you could totally do that. If there's a specific program that you want to try out, feel free. I'm just using that as an example. Or, if it's your art making practice, perhaps maybe there's something out there that, a type of medium that maybe you want to try out. Maybe you want to, instead of drawing, maybe you want to dabble in some Palmer clay and, create things using Palmer clay. So stuff like that. I think you get the idea. I'm just going to start writing some of mine down just because top of mind, my brain is overflowing right now, and I think I just need to get going. And if there's something that maybe like you know that you're gonna do, but you don't know the exact thing that you're gonna do, like for instance, as another example of mine is I know I'm gonna go on vacation, but maybe at this time I don't know exactly where, and if I have some ideas in mind, then I can jot those ideas down. But if not, that's okay. Just leave it generic so that's something that you know you can deep dive into at a later time. Another category, a big one for me, and what I really want to dive into is talking about my goal setting and things I want to accomplish for this channel. YouTube, starting a YouTube channel, I just think it's hilarious. It was something that's been in the back of my mind. I've been watching a bunch of different people on YouTube and watching other artists on their journey, and I sit back and think to myself, like, well, I'm sitting here watching what they're doing and I'm curious what they're doing. And, you know, every artist has their own take on life and their lives are different and how they run their art business, or maybe just are dabbling in art and they don't necessarily have a business. Just was thinking to myself, well, I could do that. Like, why don't I start my own channel and all that? So needless to say, I have art goals, and I already mentioned in my first video that I want to work. One of my big art goals is to work on my illustration skills. I am very rusty. I am not going to lie. I feel pretty terrible. I feel like I'm starting off at square one and it sucks, and it's maybe not probably necessarily true, but that's just how I feel. Like I have not had a consistent drawing practice, nor have I probably ever really truly had a consistent art practice in my life. I was many years ago, like when I was in high school and beyond as a child, I was always like, I learned that I kind of had a secret skill of drawing, and I love drawing cartoon characters, and I would look at something and draw it and try to repeat what I'm looking at. And then over time, as I was getting older, I just felt like I leaned into that, and art was always a big part of my life and the one area that I felt like I actually excelled in. So when I say that I'm starting off at rock bottom or bare minimum, I'm sure that's not actually the case. I've mentioned before that I do graphic design during my 9-to-5 job. The industry that I'm in is very different than my playful side, and I love cute little characters, and I'm such a nerd about it. So really want to lean into working on my illustration skills. I have goals in the back of my mind that I feel like are screaming at me and are just a constant in my head, to telling me to create, telling me to draw, telling me, like, I'm not joking when I say every single day there's a voice in my head that is telling me to draw, to create, to make something. It is relentless. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm trying to figure out a way, I have been trying to figure out a way to hold myself more accountable, because I'm realizing this has been going on. This voice that I've had in my head has been going on for many, many years. Like, I honestly don't even know if there's a day that it's not telling me to do something. So I'm at a point right now that I started this channel because my hope is that it's going to hold me accountable, because there's people like you that want to watch me. So, in my journey. And it's kind of scary and intimidating, but you know what? I'm doing it, and I'm proud of what I've created so far. Nothing's been perfect, nor will it ever probably be, but I'm okay with that, because I really want to, like, dive in, get going, just create stuff, finding ways to build actionable, realistic, attainable goals for myself to actually have a consistent art practice. And I think for me, by actually holding myself accountable to other people is something that I need. I feel like I'm a person who can be very driven. Like, once I really set the lens and, like, hone in and focus in on the thing that I'm setting out to do. And I feel like with my art, it's been this weird, like, it's been a weird gray area of my life that, even though I have this calling, this everyday voice of, like, pushing me to create, I avoid it like the plague. I don't know if it's because of what I do during my day job. I don't know if I think a lot is just, like, negative self-talk, is that I'm just like, oh, I'm going to start, and I get in front of the page and I try to draw something, or I'm on my iPad trying to draw something, and I don't know, like, hours will go by and then, like, I don't make anything, and it's infuriating. So my goal, my big goal, is do it anyway. I'm going to set actual goals, I swear. I just want to jump in. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's not the point. Like, my plan is, in the beginning, I'm going to start off small, and I'm probably going to be using a lot of reference photos or things that just are cute. I want to use something else where it's taking the brain work out of it, the guesswork of sitting down. What am I going to draw? Oh my gosh, I can't do this. You know, swirl the drain with all the thoughts. No, I am eliminating that. That's why the last video that I posted, Daily Doodle, I started off and I was like, hey, I have a cute sticker sheet and there's this adorable little bear on it. So I'm going to just draw that, right? I'm going to just draw the thing, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to put my own little spin on it. And maybe change the colors with the color pencil that I used, or, make him a little skinnier looking than what he is, in the image, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. The point was I drew something, right? And I just know over time, like as I'm building, I'm using this as a skill builder and just to get my hand used to drawing again. Start small. I'm not looking to actually create these beautiful, like finished pieces. It's more or less, I'm going to play with some color pencils or just regular pencils, or I don't know, maybe I'll bust out some pastels or pull out some painting supplies. I don't know. I don't know how crazy we're going to get up in here. It's just, the point is to create and to have fun with it. So that is really, truly what I plan to do in the beginning stages. So it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be awkward. I'm probably going to be showing you bad art, but at some point, I know I know I have talent. I know I do. It's just I'm rusty and I need to get it off of me, right? I intend to start small, get rid of the dust or dust off the cobwebs, pull out the old tools and sketch away, create. That's the point. And I'm hoping over time, as I'm slowly building these skills and getting better and working the muscle memory and building confidence along the way and showing myself, proving to myself and to you, since, you are going to be here to watch the journey and follow along. I would love it. Do it with me so I don't feel weird and alone and all that stuff too. So that would be fantastic. Follow along and actually join me. Share your work with me. I don't care. I would love that. So that's what I plan to do. And then document it. And I'm new to making videos. I was kind of laughing putting together my first video. I'm like, what am I actually doing? I'm taking A-roll and B-roll and talking into the camera, and random people were walking by on my trail, and as I'm doing it, and I feel stupid and awkward and all those things. I'm doing it. I'm just going to do it. And it's uncomfortable. And even talking like this is uncomfortable. But what I'm actually finding is the longer I sit here, I'm just hands down at this point, letting the camera just roll. And what I'm finding is just talking to it. And as the time is going on, I'm actually feeling more comfortable in front of the camera. So this is teaching me something right now. And I don't know, maybe it's inspiring you just to try out the same. Maybe you want to start your own YouTube channel. I don't know. But circling back and all this gibberish and this chatter, told you I was chatty in the first video. I just really want to lean into all of this, and I don't know really where it's going to take me. I do have big goals. I do have a vision. I would love to actually create a business with Things with Faces. And I'm thinking this is going to take time and energy and effort. And because I want to create my own original artworks, and I want illustrations on products, and maybe I'll do some dabble into art licensing. Or I've been consuming so much information the last couple of years. So if there is anything that you're curious about and you're wondering, hey, I wonder if this random chick on the internet is going to actually know any information about such and such topic, I have literally been watching stuff about different artists starting a Patreon page. I've thought about starting my own. So maybe that might come at some point. YouTube. Hey, I started my YouTube channel. Didn't know what I was doing there, but I'm doing it. I've watched other artists create their own artwork and sell it on their own website. And, whether it's stickers, postcards, digital downloads. There's so many different ways for artists these days to make a living. It's insane. I am just trying to figure out what exactly do I want to do? What types of like products or things do I actually want to make? Things will just eventually kind of guide me in where I actually need to go. And based on the types of art I create will attract different people, different viewers. And I'm hoping, honestly, another goal of mine is I want to attract like-minded people. I would love to build some connections. I don't know what's going to come of it, right? You start something new and you may have one intention moving forward, and then you end up finding out that thing is amazing, but yet completely took you off in a left turn somewhere. So that's my whole long-winded story. I don't know if any of that was helpful. I hope it was. I just want to be real. I'm not a fake person. Even when I'm trying really hard to just focus on a certain topic, it's probably not going to happen where I'm going to stick to it. I may circle back to it at some point at the very end and be like, oh yeah, I should probably somehow tie that in at the end. So anyways, if you have any goals or things you would like to share in the comments below, be sure to do that. I would love to hear what you plan or your vision is for the future of this year. Do you have a drawing goal? Do you have, like, maybe you have an art business, maybe you don't, maybe you're not even an artist, but you like how I talk and ramble about stuff. I don't know. Share some of your goals below, please. I would love that. If you like this video, please like it, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more. I'm going to have plenty of videos where I ramble on, I'm sure, for a million hours. So if you'd like some company in your house while you're cleaning and you just want to listen to someone ramble, well, I'm probably your girl. So anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if you are returning to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. So, all right, take care. Bye-bye.